In the high-stakes game for control of the Indian Ocean, India just played a shocking new card, a Mach 10 missile that some are calling unstoppable. For decades, naval power has been built around the aircraft carrier. These floating fortresses are the undisputed queens of the oceanic chessboard, projecting power anywhere on the globe. But what if a single weapon could knock that queen off the board from 1,000 kilometers away? What if it moved so fast and so erratically that it was practically invisible until it was too late? On January 26, 2026, during its 77th Republic Day parade, India didn't just show off its military. It sent a shockwave through the global defense community. Rolling down the Kartavya path was the launch vehicle for a weapon that, until then, was just whispers in intelligence circles. The Long-Range Anti-Ship Hypersonic Missile, or LR-ASHM. With a blistering peak speed and a secret skip trajectory designed to outwit the best radar systems on Earth, this missile completely challenges the old rules. The question is no longer about who has the biggest fleet, but who can strike first and fastest. Can any defense shield, from America's Aegis to Russia's S-400, actually stop it? Or has India just rewritten the rulebook for naval warfare? So why build a weapon like this? To get it, you have to understand the turbulent waters it was designed to command. The Indian Ocean isn't just blue water, it's the world's economic superhighway. A huge percentage of global trade and over 80% of India's own crude oil flows through its choke points, like the Strait of Malacca and the Strait of Hormuz. For India, controlling this region isn't about pride, it's about survival. For years, New Delhi has watched with growing alarm as its main rival, China, makes bold moves into these same waters. Analysts call this strategy the string of pearls. It's a theory describing China's effort to fund and control a network of ports from the South China Sea to the Horn of Africa. Each pearl is a strategic foothold. There's the Gwadar port in Pakistan, giving China a direct link to the Arabian Sea. There's the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka, handed over to a Chinese state-owned company on a 99-year lease. Then there are facilities in Bangladesh, Myanmar, and a full-blown naval base in Djibouti, right at the mouth of the Red Sea. Beijing insists this is all for commercial purposes, but to military planners in New Delhi, the pattern looks a lot like a strategic encirclement, a tightening naval noose meant to choke India's maritime power and put its vital sea lanes at risk. The Chinese Navy has transformed from a coastal force into a true blue water navy, sending destroyers, submarines, and aircraft carriers into the Indian Ocean more and more often. This isn't a future threat, it's happening right now. This pressure is compounded by a constant threat from Pakistan, which has been modernizing its own navy, often with Chinese help. The nightmare scenario for Indian strategists is a two-front conflict, stretching from the Himalayas to the deep ocean. In this reality, just building a bigger navy isn't enough. It's a slow, expensive, and reactive game. A new doctrine was needed, one that could proactively deny an enemy the freedom to operate in India's backyard. This is the idea of anti-access area denial, or A2AD. The goal is to create a defensive bubble so deadly that an enemy commander decides it's just not worth entering. This is the problem the LRASHM was built to solve. It's not just another missile. It's the hypersonic tip of India's A2AD Spear. It's a weapon designed to threaten and neutralize an enemy's most valuable assets, their aircraft carriers, from hundreds of kilometers away before they can even get close enough to launch their own planes. It's a calculated answer to the string of pearls, designed to turn China's own strategy back against it. This weapon wasn't born in a lab. It was forged in the geopolitical crucible of the Indian Ocean. January 26th is a day of massive national pride in India, and the Republic Day parade is the country's biggest stage for showing off its cultural heritage and military strength. But the 2026 parade was different. Among the familiar tanks and marching soldiers, a new shape appeared on the Kartavya path, mounted on a huge 12 by 12 truck. Labeled the Long-Range Anti-Ship Missile, its message was audacious and clear. This wasn't some quiet leak. This was a deliberate public statement. The Indian government and its Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, chose this moment to announce their entry into the exclusive club of hypersonic powers. It was a declaration that India is no longer just a buyer of advanced military tech, but a creator of it. Now, let's be clear about what this was. Sources confirm the LRASHM is still in developmental trials. It had a successful key test in November 2024, but it's not yet fully operational. Full induction is probably still 2 to 3 years away. So why show your hand now? The timing was a masterclass in strategic signaling. By revealing a weapon still in development, India sends a powerful message. To China, it says, your aircraft carriers, the centerpieces of your naval ambitions, are already on borrowed time. The weapon to hunt them is real, and it's coming. To Pakistan, it shows a technological leap that widens the conventional military gap. And to the world, it announces India's arrival as a self-reliant, top-tier tech power. The parade vehicle itself, a Transporter Erector Launcher, or TEL, revealed a lot. This is a road-mobile, shore-based system meant for the Indian Navy's coastal defense batteries. It can be hidden, moved, and fired quickly. An enemy can't just target a fixed silo. They'd have to find and destroy a scattered network of launchers hidden along India's massive coastline and, crucially, on its island territories. The display was a statement of intent, a look into the future of India's defense. It dragged the LRASHM out of classified files and into the world's strategic calculus. In Beijing, Islamabad, and Washington, D.C., you can bet they took notice. The weapon that was once a problem on a whiteboard was now a real piece of hardware, and its implications were just starting to sink in. So what makes the LRASHM a weapon that, quote, shocks the world? It's a mix of raw speed, incredible range, and a unique flight path that makes it a ghost to enemy defenses. First, speed. The LRASHM is a hypersonic weapon, meaning it flies faster than Mach 5. But this missile doesn't just clear that bar, it shatters it. According to India's Ministry of Defense, it hits a peak speed of Mach 10 in its initial boost phase. That's over 12,000 kilometers per hour, or more than 3 kilometers every second. At that speed, the air itself becomes an enemy, generating temperatures over 2,000 degrees Celsius. The missile is protected by special carbon silicon carbide heat shields to survive. While its peak is Mach 10, it maintains a blistering average of around Mach 5 for its flight. Next, its reach. The LRASHM has a confirmed range of about 1,500 kilometers. This is a huge jump over previous Indian missiles like BrahMos, which started at under 300 kilometers. A 1,500-kilometer range completely changes the strategic map. From India's east coast, it can cover the entire Bay of Bengal. From the west, it holds targets deep in the Arabian Sea at risk. But the real masterstroke is deploying these on India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This island chain acts like an unsinkable aircraft carrier overlooking the Strait of Malacca. From there, a 1,500-kilometer defensive bubble covers one of the world's most vital sea lanes. Any hostile navy trying to pass through would be under the constant threat of a hypersonic strike arriving in minutes. The real magic, though, is its flight path. It doesn't fly in a high, predictable arc like a ballistic missile. It uses what's known as a quasi-ballistic skip-glide trajectory. Powered by a two-stage solid rocket, the first stage boosts it to high altitude and that peak Mach 10 speed. After that, the missile uses its shape to skip along the upper atmosphere like a stone on water. This allows it to maintain speed while flying an unpredictable and lower path. This is the key to its survival. Most long-range radars are looking for threats coming from high up. The LRASHM flies in the gap, too high for many ship-based radars to see until the last second, but too low for most anti-ballistic missile systems to track effectively. For most of its journey, it's effectively invisible. By the time a defender gets a lock, the missile is already screaming in for the kill. The window to intercept is terrifyingly small. Finally, hitting a moving aircraft carrier from 1,500 kilometers away is no easy feat. The LRASHM uses a mix of guidance systems. It's believed to get mid-course updates via satellite, and in the final, terminal phase, unconfirmed reports suggest it uses an active radar seeker, possibly based on the proven tech from the BrahMos missile to home in on the moving ship. The aircraft carrier is the ultimate symbol of naval power. A single U.S. Ford-class carrier is a $13 billion sovereign territory, with a crew of over 4,500 and an air wing more powerful than most countries' air forces. It's protected by a carrier strike group of cruisers, destroyers, and submarines, all linked by the powerful Aegis combat system. It is, without a doubt, the most heavily defended military asset on Earth. And the LRASHM is designed to kill it. This idea of a carrier killer isn't new. The Soviets tried it, and more recently China made waves with its DF-21D and DF-26 missiles. But the LRASHM is the next evolution, combining the range of a ballistic missile with the evasiveness of a cruise missile, all at hypersonic speeds. The strategic impact is massive. A carrier group commander can no longer operate freely inside that 1,500-kilometer bubble. They face a terrible choice: stay outside the bubble, too far for their own jets to be effective, or risk their multi-billion-dollar centerpiece against a weapon that might be unstoppable. The missile effectively pushes the carrier back, neutralizing its greatest strength: power projection. When we say carrier kill, it doesn't have to mean sinking the ship. That's a hard kill. But even a soft kill or a mission kill is a strategic win. An impact on the flight deck could make it impossible to launch or land planes, rendering the carrier useless. A strike on the command and control island could decapitate its leadership. The LRASHM doesn't need to sink the carrier to win. It just needs to take it out of the fight. Of course, the challenge is immense. The carrier is a moving target, its strike group is actively hunting for threats, and it's using electronic warfare to jam incoming missiles. The LRASHM's success depends on a complex kill chain, from detection to launch to final impact, working perfectly. The development of this missile is a direct challenge to the age of the carrier. It suggests a future where naval power is defined less by big ships and more by the lethal reach of land-based missiles. It forces naval planners to ask a question they've been avoiding: is the supercarrier becoming obsolete? This brings us to the biggest question of all. Is the LRASHM truly unstoppable? The answer is complicated. While no weapon is ever invincible, hypersonic missiles like this one are specifically designed to exploit the weaknesses of even the world's best air defense systems. Let's look at the top defenders. The U.S. Navy's Aegis combat system on its cruisers and destroyers is the gold standard. It links powerful radars with interceptors like the SM-6 missile. Russia's S-400 Triumph is another beast, with interceptors that can reportedly hit Mach 14. The problem for these systems isn't just speed. Both are designed to counter ballistic missile warheads, which can be even faster. The real challenge is the LRASHM's combination of speed, maneuverability, and its low skip-glide trajectory. Traditional missile defense works by predicting an enemy missile's path, but you can't predict the path of a hypersonic glide vehicle that's constantly maneuvering. By the time a radar calculates an intercept point, the missile has already changed course. Worse, its low flight path slashes reaction time. Because of the Earth's curvature, a ship's radar can only see so far over the horizon. A high-flying missile can be detected minutes away, but a low-flying hypersonic weapon might only pop up on the radar in the final minute or two of its flight. At Mach 5, that's not enough time for a human to react. The entire process, detect, track, fire, intercept, has to be perfectly automated and executed in seconds. While systems like the SM-6 have shown some capability against hypersonic-like targets in tests, a fully maneuvering vehicle is a different monster. Most analysts agree, with today's technology, the probability of a successful kill is dangerously low. This reality has kicked off a global race, not just to build offensive hypersonics, but to create defenses against them. The U.S. is spending billions on new space-based sensors and interceptors like the Glide Phase Interceptor, GPI. But here's where the story takes another surprising turn. India isn't just building the weapon, it's already working on the shield. While the LRASHM steals the headlines, a quieter but equally important revolution is happening inside India's DRDO. India knows that in a hypersonic world, you need both a sword and a shield. This is the idea behind Phase 3 of its Ballistic Missile Defense (BMD) program. Having already built interceptors for shorter-range missiles, DRDO is now designing systems to counter hypersonic threats. These new interceptors, still in the early stages, are designated ADAH and ADAM. ADAH stands for Advanced Defense Anti-Hypersonic. This system is being built to tackle the toughest challenge, maneuvering hypersonic glide vehicles, just like the one on the LRASHM. ADAM stands for Advanced Defense Anti-Missile. This one is focused on intercepting hypersonic cruise missiles and other complex threats like MIRVs. Developing these defensive systems is a huge undertaking. It requires a leap in sensor technology, a network of radars that can continuously track these fast, dim, maneuvering targets. It requires new interceptors that can fly higher and faster. And it needs incredibly smart software to predict a target's next move in real time. While these systems are still years from being deployed, with developmental testing not expected for another 4 to 5 years, their development is strategically brilliant. It shows that India is thinking about the complete hypersonic picture. It isn't naively assuming its own missile will be unstoppable forever. Instead, it's getting ready for a future where its rivals have these weapons too. This two-pronged strategy, building both offense and defense, makes India one of the few nations holistically tackling the hypersonic challenge. It adds a powerful layer of credibility, signaling to adversaries that India can not only launch a hypersonic strike, but is working to stop one too. The LRASHM isn't a one-off project. It's the most visible part of a much bigger, mostly classified national mission to master hypersonic technology. This broader strategy includes foundational programs like the Hypersonic Technology Demonstrator Vehicle, HSTDV, and the mysterious Project Vishnu. The journey started with the HSTDV. In a landmark test in September 2020, DRDO successfully flew this unmanned scramjet demonstrator at Mach 6 for over 20 seconds. This was a critical proof of concept, showing India had mastered the core technologies. Since then, DRDO has pushed the limits, with recent ground tests of its scramjet engine running for much longer durations, signaling a move from research to weapons-grade tech. This groundwork led to Project Vishnu, a secretive DRDO initiative to create a whole family of hypersonic systems. Reports suggest Project Vishnu includes up to a dozen different weapon systems, aiming to give India a complete hypersonic triad. The ability to launch these weapons from land, air, and sea. One key system is the ET-LDHCM, or Extended Trajectory Long Duration Hypersonic Cruise Missile. This is a scramjet-powered missile meant to fly at Mach 8 with a potential range of 2,500 kilometers. Unlike the LRASHM's boost glide system, this would be an air-breathing missile, able to sustain its speed for the whole flight. Project Vishnu is also thought to include glide vehicles like Dhvani and the defensive interceptors we just talked about, making it a comprehensive offensive-defensive program. There's even talk of submarine-launched versions for India's next-generation nuclear attack submarines. This ecosystem approach is what really quote-unquote shocks the world. It proves the LRASHM isn't a lucky fluke. It's the first result of a deep, well-funded, and long-term national strategy. India isn't just building a missile, it's building an entire class of weaponry and the scientific base to back it up. DRDO has established its own advanced hypersonic wind tunnels and testing facilities, giving it the ability to design and refine these systems without foreign help. This ambition sends a clear message. India intends to be a rule maker, not a rule taker, in the new era of high-tech warfare. The goal is complete strategic autonomy in a domain that will define military power for the next 50 years. The LRASHM is just the public face of this ambition. The arrival of India's LRASHM is more than just a new weapon, it's a turning point in the story of global power. Faced with the strategic threat of China's string of pearls and its rapidly growing navy, India needed a weapon that could reshape the security of the Indian Ocean. The answer was forged from speed and stealth. With a peak velocity of Mach 10 and a 1,500-kilometer range, the LRASHM is a monster of a missile. Its genius lies in its skip-glide trajectory, designed to fly under the radar of traditional missile defenses and make interception incredibly difficult, even for top-tier systems like Aegis and the S-400. While its unstoppable label is up for debate, its potential as a carrier killer is not. It creates a strategic headache for adversaries, neutralizing their most powerful assets. But this is only half the story. The parallel development of defensive interceptors like the ADAH and ADAM shows a nation with a mature, forward-thinking strategy. India isn't just building a sword, it's forging a shield. The LRASHM, part of a larger ecosystem including Project Vishnu and the HSTDV program, is proof of India's technological rise and its commitment to Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India. It marks the nation's arrival as a leader in a field once dominated by a handful of superpowers. Full deployment is still a few years out, but the message sent from the Kartavya Path on Republic Day 2026 was loud and clear. A new power has entered the hypersonic arena, and the strategic calculus of the Indo-Pacific has changed forever. This rapid advancement brings up some big questions. What do you think? Is India's new missile the ultimate deterrent that will bring stability to the Indian Ocean, or will it spark a dangerous new arms race leading to even more instability? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. For more deep dives into the military technology shaping our world, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.